Welcome to Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a
What's
light
your
on
story?
incredible. What does accessibility mean to you?
What's your mission? Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I am your host, Josh Basil. I'm a C4-5 quadriplegic paralyzed below my shoulders and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and trial attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for people with disabilities. Today on accessiBe Spotlight Sessions, we are joined by Natalia Lyckowski, the Global Neurodiversity Advancement Leader at IBM. Welcome, Nat.
Thank you so much for having me, Josh. Excited to be here, and thank you to all the listeners who are dedicating some of your very valuable and precious time to be with us today.
Nat, you are awesome. So let's dive right into it. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Nat Lyckowski. My pronouns are she, her, her. I am a white female with brown, bushy hair, depending on the humidity levels, and I'm a neurodivergent. I've been with IBM for 28 years, and since 2015, I've been part of the Neurodiversity at IBM mission.
All right, you just dropped a word, neurodivergent. For the audience members that do not know, what is a neurodivergent, or what does it mean to be a neurodivergent?
Absolutely. So neurodiversity, the term was actually coined by an anthropologist, Judy Singer, in the early 1990s, I believe. And basically adding neuro to the different chapters of diversity that we have. We have race and gender and ethnicity and, sexual orientation, identity, disabilities, diverse abilities, and adding neurodiversity to that. So basically, it's a concept where neurological differences like autism, dyslexia, ADHD that should be viewed as just another variation of the human condition, and that this is not something to be cured or masked, and just really have it be not only accepted but embraced as just another chapter of diversity.
And we're talking about millions of people around the country, around the world, that fall within this.
Yeah, absolutely. Present studies from the CDC are that 1 in 20 individuals are neurodivergent. So that's 1 in 20 of your coworkers, your clients, your family members, your friends, and 1 in 50 are autistic. And with this community comes a lot of passion, a lot of skills in the workforce, that people, if we're not going out and doing things to make things neurodivergent friendly, they may be missing out, and the neurodivergent may be missing out of opportunities as well.
And so with your work at IBM, kind of what does your day-to-day look like to help within the walls of IBM and then outside the walls?
Gosh, I am honored and blessed to be in the role that I am as Global Neurodiversity Advancement Leader. We couldn't make it any longer and have it still sit on the business card. But so basically, I work to help build a fertile environment for neurodivergents to succeed in IBM, the neurodivergents that are already here, to help with hiring programs to ensure that neurodivergents can enter IBM, working externally with other companies to share best practices, working with universities, working with youth groups, and trying to get people earlier in the pipeline, number one, to feel safe and comfortable about coming out as neurodivergent. And I know that term's usually used in the LGBTQ plus arena, but it's the same thing. Like, you can't see that I am neurodivergent. It's not something visual. It's not like, race or other factors, but to feel safe in coming out and feeling safe to ask and be open about what they need to succeed, and not to have it be viewed as a deficit or a special need, right? Like eyeglasses, right? It's not a special need, right? It's something that helps me succeed. and it's, you know, part of who I am. I can't leave it at home like a hat. It's part of my identity, and it makes me who I am. It gives me my own set of superpowers.
I love that.
And just like everyone, right, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses.
And you talked a little bit about kind of creating kind of those safe spaces, and I heard the word self-identity or identifying. Like, why is it so important to be able to have a safe space to identify, and what does that do to the culture when that happens?
So the motto of Neurodiversity at IBM's program is nothing about us without us. That really ensures the neurodivergent community can help steer and get support from this community. If it was a women's initiative run by all men, or if they only took opinions from men, it wouldn't be that great of an initiative. Or if there were 10 men and one woman, it wouldn't be there either. So having me being in this role, our global executive sponsor is openly, proudly neurodivergent. This past April, we created a Neurodivergent Out executive program where we have IBM executives coming out as neurodivergent, talking on YouTube, being very raw and genuine, and really trying to bust a lot of myths that neurodivergents are all male, or neurodivergents are all children, or only autistic, or only good in IT, or only white, where neurodiversity goes across all, it's like intersectionality right there. In IBM, we have our bumblebees, our little theme. So we talk about cross-pollinate because neurodiversity is everywhere, and it can add extra layers. So April is Neurodiversity Month, so our theme this year was cross-pollinate, where we had speakers talking about what's it like to be a Black female neurodivergent, or being neurodivergent and part of the LGBT community, because it crosses over so much there. And it's also stereotypical in job roles too. Like, people think, oh, I'm going to get a neurodivergent, like the good doctor or Rain Man, that's going to sit in the basement of the company and, make lines and lines and lines of code, not realizing that your neurodivergent can be an accountant or a lawyer or a landscaper or anything else, if they're given the tools to succeed and be in the right environment. So I have a question for you. I'm going to ask a question. I want you to think of a bird and how it moves and where it lives, and share with me and our listeners the bird that you're thinking of.
I am thinking of a blue jay up in a tree in my backyard, and
awesome.
It just living in its little nest and having little blue birds next to him and her.
Awesome. Perfect. You didn't pick my bird. And no, this wasn't planned. So the bird that I'm thinking of is the penguin. I don't fly, and that's okay. And I'm really, really awkward on land, and that's okay. But I've got skills. I am a super swimmer. I can survive extreme harsh temperatures. I can raise a chick on my toes so it doesn't freeze. I've got some loyal peeps that when we come together, there's a big storm coming, we all are smart enough to huddle together. And hate to say it, Blue Jay, you can't live where I live. And that's okay. Just like I can't live where you live. And there's nothing wrong with me, and there's nothing wrong with you. But we have to match skill with the environment, especially how we judge and look at microaggressions and biases and all of that stuff.
I love that. It's if you have everybody looking the same, talking the same, sitting the same at the same table, you're going to get the same results every single time. But if you bring a diverse group of people together, you're going to get ideas and just voices from all different areas of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think is really exciting, since neurodiversity has been around for, 10, 20 years, there's now hard data to go with it. It's not just hiring the neurodivergent for the warm, fuzzy, like, oh, it's so nice, look at corporate citizenship, very important, but there's a business case for it. There have been studies to show neurodivergents are 92% more productive, 66% higher job loyalty, 32% new innovation to coming. to a company, bringing to new skills at almost no cost or very low cost. It's about opening your heart and mind, or realizing that an ADHDer is not going to do great work if they're sitting in an office near the elevator or the kitchenette, where there's lots of noise and commotion and people are burning popcorn, where if they can sit at home or a more quiet area, they can do a whole lot better work. And that costs nothing to the company. So, like, why not? We have huge skills, and there's a skills gap out there, right, in today's workforce. And if we have this population of 1 in 20 that is having difficulty getting into the job market, there's a over 40% and underemployment rate of college-educated autistics. PhDs in machine learning or accounting or legal, working at Starbucks, or still living at home. Not that living at home is a bad thing, but not able to be independent because they don't smile the right way, or they're just a little odd. And those biases and microaggressions block those individuals from getting into those roles. Like if we went to a heart surgeon and they had a bad bedside manner, we wouldn't care, right? We would almost kind of expect it. So if you're hiring an accountant or somebody like that, why would we judge them primarily on, how will they smile or want to talk about the weather versus the skills that they bring?
So what are some of those workplace accommodations for neurodivergent professionals, and like why is it important to have them for them?
Yeah, we're trying to, again, remove that medical model and going to that social model. So instead of saying, what accommodation from the norm do you need, just saying, how can I help you succeed? And making it a little more human friendly. And some of them may be related to the sensory diet of information coming in. For example, bright lights, noises, smells can actually cause pain to a neurodivergent. It's not just a preference. Like, if you get popcorn stuck in your teeth or a rock in your shoe or something, you have to address it. So imagine being, on a job interview with popcorn stuck in your teeth. You can't focus. So being able to say, this is what I need, and be able to offer reasonable accommodations to work from home or a more quiet area, or noise canceling headphones, or I'd rather sit facing the wall so I don't have all of the commotion. But some people may want to be in the middle of the thick of things. And it's really asking that individual how they work best. You're a night owl. I'm an early bird. Let's work that out. So it's not only physical accommodations or success enablers, it's also social. So understanding, using radical candor. I joke that if you want to know how you look in those pants, ask a neurodivergent, because we're going to tell you what you need to hear, and may be perceived as being rude or prolix or too literal or not getting the joke. So how do we address that? We can use social contracting. I talk a lot. I get very excited. I have fireworks of new ideas going off in my brain, and I want to share them with everybody in the whole world. But sometimes I can't do that. So on my team, I actually have a safe word, and it's pineapple. So somebody could just say pineapple, and I go, oh, I'm doing that thing. Thanks. And we move on, instead of them being like, oh my God, she will never shut up. And that's okay. Or maybe saying, I'm a dyslexic and I would like somebody to just eyeball this report, because spell check doesn't find everything, and just be open and honest of, how we can work best with each other, whether you need captioning, whether you need transcript recording. It really can help everyone succeed. Having meetings with clear agendas, having communication strategies. One of my favorite ones is, you ever had a partner or a manager go, we need to talk, right? Nobody ever likes to hear that, right? You're like, do I have to pick up flowers on the way home? What did I forget? So if you even have a manager saying, hey, can we talk at 2? That would be great, thanks, bye. And you're like, ugh. So you spend the next hour spinning, and for a neurodivergent, that can, trigger migraines, it can trigger a panic attack, and all of that can be avoided by saying, hey, can we talk up to about the benefits program or whatever it is? It's 2 words, but for me to be able to have that courage and that openness to say, can you just give me like 2 more words so I'm not stressing about this the whole day? It would help everybody. Or the interview process is awful for everybody, right? Add that level of anxiety of a job interview, and then add another layer of being neurodivergent. So what can we do? Can we provide some of the interview questions in advance, or say there'll be 12 questions, I'm going to give you 5 in advance, and if you're uncomfortable with one, just say pass and we'll move to the next one. Or just having that interview be collaborative, or just being able to talk about these things.
Because at the end of the day, businesses want to bring in the talent, bring in the skills that will help them not only survive, but thrive. And I know one of the big things with accommodations, I don't really like the word accommodation. I'd rather it be like an enhancer. You want me to perform to my best ability.
Yeah, success enabler. Feel free to use it.
Success enabler. I like that too. Like, it's the bottom line is every single employee, you want to make sure they can have the best output to bring value to the company, to the customers, to the whole business culture.
Correct. And IBM has been doing this for a very, very long time. I believe we're in our 110th year, and we were focusing on different abilities even before the ADA. One of the first companies to add anti-discrimination clause against race and creed and color, equal pay for equal women, back in the 20s and 30s. So it's really our next chapter as well, to have neurodiversity be embraced, and not only through hiring, but also through retention, through career development, through culture change, through outreach, through opportunities like talking to you today and your listeners, to have more people wanting to say the word. I use a little joke a lot, and I said, it's not like saying Lord Voldemort, right? The Dark Lord is not going to jump down and appear to us if we say dyslexic, autistic. And using language that is empowering, like not on the spectrum. What the heck does that mean? Or high functioning. Well, who gets to decide what functioning means? And think about, somebody with high or low support needs, which does not mean high or low intellectual level. It does not mean, it just means the person has high or, has some support needs. And just leave it at that.
Leave it at that, and even then, even have conversations if you need to, so you can get more comfortable with these words. So it's not like the Lord Voldemort.
Correct. And moving from that, everybody, April is usually Autism Awareness Month, but I think we're past that, right? Awareness is passive. Oh, you're different than me. I'm aware, but I still don't want you in my house or my company or my job. So our 3 A's slogan in Neurodiversity at IBM is awareness, acceptance, into advancement. And depending on where you are in your journey, step it up, right? If you went on a autism awareness walk, that's great, but what did that accomplish? Or for somebody to come to me and go, hey, I want to let you know my nephew's ADHD. And I'm like, great. And I have a friend who's a guy, and I have a friend who's like, there's a difference between just identifying or saying, hey, I have a friend who is Black or this or that. You can say, do you have any resources to help my nephew? And have it be an active conversation, not just an awareness, and have the hard conversations. And I think sometimes people don't know where to start. So I think if everybody starts from a place of empathy, then we can have that conversation like, I'm not an expert in this, but I would like to learn more. Or is it okay if people use this word? I heard this word is better than that word. Just talk about it and understand and respect opinions of others. And I think it'll make us all more human.
I love that. And if you had one final message for businesses, why it's so important to cater to people, the neurodivergent talent, what would that be?
I would say they're missing out on a lot of skilled people. I think it's a way to create more empathetic managers at your company to increase value, right? Everybody likes money. And it's a win-win-win across the board. It allows the neurodivergents already at your company to succeed and blossom and put in more. It can give you corporate citizenship, employee morale, better team players, more innovation for almost no money. I mean, yes, there is some cost, but it's usually minimal. It's about removing blockers and biases of having these conversations. Say, hey, can we use pineapple? Or we're all going to raise our hand. Or, somebody may prefer to have their cameras off versus their cameras on, or talk about that. Okay, our cameras are always going to be off except in this condition or in this space. We're going to have a client call. And even then, somebody could still say, this doesn't work for me. And that's okay. We want everybody to be able to perform, whether penguin or blue jay, at their best and bring what they can to the table.
I love it, Nat. This was so much fun today. I gotta first thank you so much for being our guest. You're amazing, brilliant, and a powerful voice and mind in the community. So thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And to all of our viewers, thank you for staying to the end. And until next time, everyone, take care.